Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. I have a feeling I know what this video is going to be about. How to replace an electrical outlet. And yes, you would be correct in knowing that. And this electrical outlet happens to be working right now, and it's always worked. So why am I replacing it? Well, for the common fact that this little thing that's plugged in here is for cats. It's to prevent cats from pissing on the floor. And we moved into this condo recently. It's been a while now, but the cat's been pissing on the carpet when we first moved in. And to get her from stopping that, we got these things, and I just made a video about it. Hopefully you can catch that one. I forget what it's called. Something Comfort something or other. And I don't think it's from Feel Away. I think it's from some other place. Mommy got it on the internet. And it's the stuff that calms cats down and prevents them from pissing on the floor. And son of a gun, it works good. And see, right now I've got some paper towel there. See, when I lift that away, see how this pulls down? It's easy for it to come down at an angle, because see how sloppy it is in there? And my see, look at that one. It's very easy for it to slide down like that. And if it goes down at an angle, this thing comes up a wick, and then it heats on a little tray. But if this slides down like that, it starts accumulating down here on the bottom, and then it starts dripping down on the floor like this. Okay, I don't want that. I don't want to have to do this every time I want to plug that in. So my theory is I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to leave that over there for right now. And I'm going to go ahead and replace this electrical outlet, because I believe these little prongs in here are really super old, and it's just keeping those prongs from staying tight like a brand new one would be. Okay, even though this is still good. Okay, if you want to watch that, stick around and I'll show you how I do it. Now, of course, maybe you don't have cats. Maybe you don't have any of these. Maybe you don't have cats that piss on your floor or any of that stuff. And if this plug is still working, you don't have to replace it at all. Maybe your plug is broken. Maybe your ground right there is snapped off. The plastic. Well, if it is, it's not wise to keep running your electrical outlet. Maybe the bottom was cracked. Maybe it's pushing a wall. Who knows what it is? But if you need to replace an electrical outlet, this video is for you. Now, of course, am I going to remove this electrical outlet without turning the power off? No, and I don't suggest that you do either. I've got my little tester, and we know the power is on. Okay, and so I'm gonna flip breakers, and I'm gonna make sure that the power is off. Okay, before I touch that. Electricians, yeah, they know how to do it, and they can do it in such a way, but you're probably not an electrician. If you were an electrician and you knew all about how to do stuff, you probably wouldn't be watching this video. Okay, so make sure the power is off. And if you don't have a little tester like this, you want to go down to the store, Home Depot, Lowe's, something like that, you probably buy one of these for about $5. You know, one of these little testers like this, or a different type of little tester that you plug in there, a little plastic box that you do that. Or if you don't want to even do that, just plug a lamp in there, an extension cord, a radio, a charger, anything like that, okay, to check that. But we're going to get this power off before I do anything. Okay, I got it shut off. And it was under deck plugs. This is downstairs next to the deck. And I thought, I'll try that one first, and sure enough, it was it. Okay. And this happens to be the exterior wall. What I did is I put a little foam pieces under here. See this thing here? And that is because if you put your hand here, you could feel cold air coming from outside if this is on an exterior wall. Okay, so I'll end up putting that back on. Now it's about unscrewing this, and I'm just going to replace like for like. Have I worked on this plug ever before, other than putting that little styrofoam in there for the switch? No, I haven't. But when I repainted this condo, I went around afterwards and made sure these were all straight up and down, made sure the screws were tight because some of these were kind of loose. And I did all that before I put the cover plates back on. Okay. And so now I'm going to pull that out from the wall like that. Okay. And I see on there, let's take a quick look at this. And I see there's 2 black wires and 2 white wires on it. Here's a ground wire that's hooked to it. And these, see how they're wrapped around the screws on the side? On both sides. Why did they do that? You know, I look at the new plug, and this electrical outlet only cost me 77 cents. Now see on the back, there's little areas where you could plug them directly into the back. I don't generally like to do that, but years ago, I would do that all the time. Every once in a while, those will get loose as you're trying to push it back into the box. And funny thing is, I happen to look on the electrical panel, and all of the breakers are 20 amp breakers. What does that tell me? That tells me that all the wires, all these wires that come into this box are 12 gauge. And because 12 gauge wires go on a 20 amp breaker. You have 15 amp breakers and 20 amp breakers. 15 amp breakers are for 14 gauge wire, okay, which is smaller than this. And another funny thing is, on these cheap plugs, these are 15 amp plugs. And let's see if I can see that. See, right? I'm not. Oh yeah, see, right down in there. I don't know if you see a 15. And that means these should technically only go on 15 amp breakers. But you know what? Every house that I've ever seen, if you have well, on most times, 20 amp breakers, they still put 15 amp plugs. I've even seen it in commercial buildings, believe it or not. In commercial buildings, when you have 20 amp breakers, you should put 20 amp electrical outlets on those breakers. Sometimes the inspector catches it, sometimes they don't. And see, these used to be designed where the hole on the back side was a little bit bigger. But nowadays, they make that small little hole back in there only big enough to push in 14 gauge wire. Now, hopefully you're watching this entire video, because then you'll learn more as you go along. Okay, so that's a reason why the last person could not plug into the back, because the holes were probably too small. And so they thought, okay, we'll fix that. We'll just put them on the side. And even if this was 14 gauge wire, I would prefer screwing it on, putting the wires and wrapping them around the screw anyways, because that keeps you a better connection. And another thing you could do is, when you're putting these on, this little gold thing here pops back. Let's see if I can show you. Oh, maybe this one doesn't have it. No. Okay, I guess this one doesn't. Sometimes this thing folds up, but you see this little groove right there? You see that little groove right there? It's just enough. You can put the wire, you can strip the wire and put it straight in like that, and then clamp the screw down on the sides. Your wire can go straight in if you want, instead of wrapping it around. But because these are wrapped, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm just going to unscrew them on the side, and I'll probably leave the wire exactly how I found it. Do you see what I mean? Stick with me. and you'll find out.